World of Warcraft just released its 9th expansion, Dragonflight, releasing a whole new zone, dragon flying, and a playable dragon race, the Drakthir. But today, I want to talk about, is WoW worth playing in 2023? I want to cover what the new player experience is like, what makes WoW Dragonflight worth playing, what the end game is like, and then some of the major issues that might turn you away from the game. There's a lot to talk about in this video, and I'll timestamp everything if you want to jump around to a specific part. If you want to watch the whole thing, let's get straight into it. World of Warcraft is an MMORPG created by Blizzard Entertainment and has been one of the biggest and most well-known MMOs for the last 15 years. WoW is best known nowadays for its endgame content, its mythic dungeons, its raids, and its player versus player arenas. But there's much more to WoW than its competitive endgame grindy scene. So here's why you should play WoW Dragonflight in 2023. WoW's had two pretty rocky expansions in a row that weren't received all too well by the player base, and as a result, they've really pulled out all the stops with Dragonflight. They kind of had a make or break situation at the end of the last expansion, and they really had to go above and beyond what players wanted. But did they achieve this? Well, let's talk about it. Dragonflight brings us a new continent, the Dragon Isles, where you learn to fly a range of dragons. And the flying isn't what you're used to in WoW and what we've seen before. These dragons are fully mobile, have skills, and you can fully customize them. Suspiciously similar to Guild Wars 2, but with the Blizzard spin. So there's dragon riding. You can fly with friends, and they even come into play in one of the dungeons. And the dragon riding honestly makes the whole expansion pop. Every zone has been designed around dragon riding. Things up on mountains, things in caves that you can only get to by flying. And you get the dragons pretty much at the start of the expansion. As soon as you get to that level and go to that zone, you have it that same day. No Pathfinder, no tedious grind to unlock flying. You just get it, and it just works. Then there's the talent trees. These have been completely revamped to be more like they were in Classic, and you can fully customize your character's talent tree. You can fully respec and change talents on the fly, and you can save builds as custom templates. You can have a PvP, a raid, a mythic plus talent tree saved and ready to go. And sure, you might just go online and find the best build and just download that and put it into your game, but you can still take that and edit it a little bit to better suit your needs. Maybe there's a certain talent you don't gel with or a spell you never use. Just get rid of it and get something else that you want. The next big change is, over the last few expansions, there's been a real big issue in being borrowed power. Think artifact weapons if you played Legion, Azerite power if you played BFA, or Covenant power as if you played Shadowlands. But finally with WoW Dragonflight, we're seeing an end to this, as the expansion is launching without any of these systems. Just you, your talent tree, your player power, and your gear. And it's so liberating. If you've never played WoW before, they basically would tie a system to an expansion. So there would be some sort of thing, a reputation, or a zone or something you would have to grind daily or weekly, and that would deliver you most of your player power. The next big change we had was crafting. This has been completely overhauled. You now have gatherers and crafters with their own specialization system. Think of it like a talent tree for crafters. Every single profession and craft has this, except for maybe cooking and fishing, you know, all the major ones, the primary ones. There's now equipment with stats on. You can be a jewel crafter who specializes in a certain type of ring or a certain type of gem. Maybe you want to be the guy on your server who makes the best haste gems on the whole of your server, or a tailor who can make the best cloth shoulders in the entire realm. This combined with the work order system makes crafting feel amazing. You can go and place an order for a specific item, and then someone with the exact skills to make the exact item you want will pick that order up and make it for you. And it makes the game feel more alive. It has its flaws, but I have people saved on my friends list that I know can craft certain things. I have a blacksmith saved down who can make weapons at a high level, who's really reliable, and he seems to be online every single day. I have a jewel crafter saved who can make the gems I need and make them at the highest quality for a pretty good price. So it makes it feel more like a community, and it makes it feel like more of a trader's guild of people, and you get to know the people on your server who make the certain things rather than just dumping everything on the auction house and the cheapest one gets sold. So I would say Dragonflight has really brought WoW a long way. A lot of the problems that you might have left the game for seem to have been removed, and a lot of the changes have really brought life to the game. But let's talk about the end game. What is the endgame experience like in Dragonflight? The number one reason might be the most obvious, but WoW has a reputation for its gear and its character progression. I play loads of other MMOs, Final Fantasy, BDO, Guild Wars, but nothing hits quite like WoW. Its tab target combat and its endgame fights just feel so good. You're always on the hamster wheel. You're always on the gear grind. There's always something to work towards and something to improve on. And for those looking to do PvE content against harder and harder enemies, this is just perfect. I think this really speaks to people as well who play like Diablo or Path of Exile style games that have that constant gear grind. There's 8 new dungeons in Dragonflight that come in a range of difficulty from normal all the way to mythic, And as you progress, the enemies get harder, more mechanics, and better gear. And then once you defeat the mythic difficulty, there's a further scale, and this is my personal best part about the game. It's not new in Dragonflight, but I'm going to talk about it because it's part of the game, and it's a damn good reason to play the game. And you can grind from +1 all the way up to 15s, 20s, and they get really, really hard. You've got to be on top of your game. You've got to have a really good team, and you've got to do everything pretty much perfectly when you're at those really, really high mythic levels. Or you can step into what some people believe is the real end game, and that is the raids. Up to 40 people going into the new Dragonflight raid, the Vault of Incarnates, a giant elemental themed raid with dragons, monsters, fire, and chaos. This scales again from easy mode all the way up to mythic, and it's a huge commitment. This is a really hard part of the game. The easy ones, you can pretty much get them all done in a day. They're not too much trouble. They're called the Raid Finder difficulty, and they're very straightforward. Your average player can go in there and get them done. And then on the flip side, the mythic difficulty is normally just cleared by the best players in the game. Personally, I'm quite comfortable at the heroic level. That's kind of where I feel the challenge is perfect. But if you really want to min-max all the way to the end, this mythic difficulty will really push you. There's 8 bosses in here. They're super fun. I've currently cleared a couple on heroic and everything on normal, and I'm going in there every week. It's incredible. And then if you don't find your enjoyment in AI, there's player versus player. The PvP endgame, again, has a full PvP gear progression open to them. There's open world PvP, where the two factions fight over resources, gathering nodes, world quests, all the little battlegrounds. There's arenas where you can grind currencies to get some of the coolest PvP gear in the game. Work with friends in arena teams, pushing to be the best ranked arena team in your server. The best PvPers out there, again, the gladiators get a title and a coveted gladiator mount as a reward, so everyone knows that you're a professional gladiator and they should leave you alone. And then again, if you're not feeling the competitive side of the game, or just want something less stressful, or you just want to play the game solo, and an MMO solo, people do, and I respect it. There is a ton of open world content in Dragonflight. It comes with 4 huge open world zones and a gorgeous new city. Each zone has its own faction, like a renowned faction that you can do quests with and progress with every day, every week. For example, there's the Expedition faction, which set you out to dig up treasures. As you progress your reputation with them, they send you to take photos of animals and climb mountains and just do other things that are quite fun and quite different for rewards. You can get gear there. You can get pets and other cool little cosmetic items. Really fun things to do. There's the Tuskar tribe that set you out to gather fish, make soup, and other wacky little things. The world quests, world bosses, secrets, treasures. There's so much in the open world that you can play this game and just play the open world. I honestly think for the first time in WoW's history, it can be completely justified just to live out your life as a crafter, gathering and crafting, and you can have a full endgame doing that now. They've done a really good job, much better than I expected. Now, we're hitting quite far into the video now, maybe over halfway, I don't know. And it's all been very positive, and you know, some out there will call me a shill or say I'm biased, and I want to make it clear that I've got some bad to say. So let's get into that. Let's talk about why you shouldn't play WoW Dragonflight. Let's be real. The first reason that's going to put probably the most people off here is toxicity. If you choose to progress in the challenging endgame content, you will, I guarantee you will run into toxic people. I've had some bad things said to me, some deserved, some not. But you've got to be able to brush it off, report them, ignore them, move on. If you can't handle a little bit of toxicity, you're gonna struggle in the hardcore endgame content unless you're isolating to just play with friends. That's a different world, but if you're playing with random players, you're gonna meet some toxic people. It happens in all games, but WoW definitely has it. If you come from something like Final Fantasy XIV that has, I would say, a much more accepting and approachable endgame, WoW can feel very harsh. I've had some friends that have come over from Final Fantasy back to WoW with me, and they've brought it up to me that it's been rough for them. My tips would be, if you're going to go into the hard in-game content in WoW, such as the Mythic Plus or the raids, is to go in with friends. Find a guild through the guild finder and find friends. Let them know you're new, you want to learn, and you're going to make mistakes. Maybe say, I've come from this MMO, this is my first MMO, I don't know what a DPS is, I don't know what a tank is, I just want to learn, and you're going to make friends. Everyone was new at some point. Lots of people actually like helping other people, believe it or not. So if you find yourself with some friends in a guild, you're going to be fine. I really do think you're going to be fine. Coined with this, another big issue in WoW is elitism. There's a lot of people in WoW who treat this game and their time very, very seriously. They want to play with the best of the best. They don't want their time wasted. And it makes things like your item level super important. You won't even get picked for the hard content if your gear is bad. Most people use a DPS meter or a healing meter to track how much damage is being done. And if you're slacking, you'll probably get told or even kicked from dungeons. WoW has had this for as long as I can remember, and it's still here. So it's something to be aware of. And if you're really not into the min-maxy, you just want to go in, press your buttons, have fun, not look at guides, you're going to struggle in the end game because there is a very much a min-max culture here. The next big issue, number 3, is the time commitment. WoW has an insane time commitment. If you want to play this at a high level, it can take over all your time. There's memes about this game ruining relationships, and it's true. With so much content and scalable difficulty that you can just keep going, you can grind forever. WoW can start to feel like a second job when you're constantly focused on progression and raiding. When this came out, I set myself a task plan. I was like, right, I need to go into this raid these nights. I need to do these mythics every week. I need to do these 8 mythics to get this reward. I need to make sure I get this to craft this. I need to do this. And I felt like I wrote myself 30 hours of work. And it's all fun stuff and I enjoy it, but it's a grind. And then as soon as the weekly reset hits, you do it all again, but on maybe a harder difficulty. If you want to push into the hard raids, you might need to join a serious raiding guild and commit to a raiding schedule, where they say you've got to be here at 7 o'clock, 3 nights a week. Yeah, that does feel like a job. Finally, the only other issue is the cost. It's an MMO. The World of Warcraft, you have to buy the new expansion and you've got to pay a monthly sub. But there's also services. You want to switch from Alliance to Horde because you made the wrong choice. 20 pounds, 20 great British pounds. You want to switch server, 20 great British pounds. And that's per character. And then there's store mounts, store toys, pets, and unfortunately, a WoW token, which is a token that can be purchased for real money and can be exchanged for in-game gold. Yep, that. Just saying that is going to make some people go, right, not for me, and close the video and never play WoW. And I understand that. Yeah, there's no super egregious pay-to-convenience features, such as what you see in games like Lost Ark or BDO, but it is still a valid reason why people won't play the game, and it's worth mentioning. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is it too late to start WoW in 2023? With 9 expansions full of content and over 15 years of history, it could feel pretty overwhelming to get into WoW as a new player, or come back as a returning player. So how does it feel getting into WoW Dragonflight right now? New players now have a choice of pretty much every class and most races, but there are still a few that are locked behind either expansions, level requirements, or in-game quests. There's a ton of classes you can still play, and the free trial lets you play up to level 20. It just might feel a little weird as a new player that some of the cooler, more exciting classes are locked, such as the new Dragon race being locked behind the Dragonflight expansion and a level requirement, but hey, you still got loads of stuff unlocked that you can play. Just be aware of that before getting into it. Don't worry though, the new classes aren't like super overpowered and pay to win. It's not like that. Some are scaled differently and some are better at certain things, but generally you can play as any of the classes and have fun. The leveling experience is kind of hit and miss right now. The first 10 levels will take your character through a brand new updated zone called the Exiles Reach. This is a starter zone. I think it's perfect for new players. It ends at level 10 and takes you to your main city. And this is where new players probably start to drop off. This can feel janky. The level 10 to level 60 part of the game, the tutorial is over, and the best new exciting part of the game is at level 60. So for these 50 levels, you're kind of playing through old content. But whether you're new or old, the best thing about coming to WoW into 2023 is the new expansion is a fresh reset. There's a new level cap, a new gear, new reputations, new dungeons, new raids, and specifically in Dragonflight, a brand new crafting system, which is a complete reset. So everyone is on the same level playing field. I mean, the game's been out for a while now, so they're on the treadmill now, but they don't have 15 years experience on you. So if you're worried you're going to be left behind or it's too late, don't. This is really a great time to start. So overall, is WoW worth playing in 2023? It is. Yeah, it really, really is. I would recommend it. I've played most MMOs out there, and WoW's endgame just keeps on dragging me back whether I like it or not. With the revamping of the talent trees, the removal of borrowed power, and a better attitude from the developers, I feel very comfortable saying, for the first time in years, WoW is worth your time. WoW is one of the best expansions we've seen in World of Warcraft for so long, and if there was ever a time to recommend WoW, In the last 5 years, it's now. Whether you're fighting inside the dungeons and raids, becoming an elite arena PvPer, or just chilling, flying your dragon, fishing, and dominating the auction house with your mastercrafts, WoW feels alive. It's fun, it's engaging, and it's in a really, really good place. If you never liked WoW, its combat, its endgame, or its semi-toxic community, none of that's changed. It's still WoW. But if you're new and looking for an MMORPG with some of the best endgame content out there, WoW has it. And if you're a player who quit in an old expansion, now might be time to come back. That's it for this video. If you like it, drop a like. Let me know in the comments what you think of Dragonflight, if you're thinking about coming back, if you left, or you have some reservations, maybe I can answer them down below, or someone else in the comments can help. But that's it here. Subscribe if you like MMOs and want more MMORPG content. That's it from me. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.